Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Caswell Cooke Show. My name's Caswell Cooke. I'm in hiding in my basement. we we've uh, we've been doing this show. I was thinking about it when we started the Caswell Cooke Show. It was 1995, believe it or not. So that was 25 years ago. Was that 25 years? And we did the show pretty faithfully for like 5 years, and then we did it unfaithfully for another five, and then we did these sporadic episodes, and then we disappeared. And then our producer Ben Barber said, "Caswell, why are you not doing your show?" So we kicked off 2020 with this big idea to go on the road and interview all these great and famous people. And we did our first episode with Billy Gilman from The Voice. And next thing you know, COVID hit. And then we became the thing, man. Hey, people are watching. That's right. Wherever you're watching from, type in the comments. We're on a lot of different channels right now. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on the Musqueambica Beach Facebook page. We're on some Westerly pages. We're all over the place. So say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're from. This is a little talk show, and so we brought the Caswell Cooke Show back in 2020, and boy, have we had an array of stars this year. It was just so much fun last year, I should say, in 2020 during COVID, to be able to have some great stars and to come into your homes every night. And then we've kind of slowed down, you know, lately, and now we just do this maybe a few times a month with some special guests. Well, tonight we have a special guest because many of you have seen a video from the 80s that went viral on YouTube in the last probably been in the last decade or so. It went to millions of people. So what I'm going to do right now is play this video from the 1980s that went completely viral, and then we're going to come back and talk to the guy who wrote the song and sang lead. So take it away. This is the viral video.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend in Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
He taught me how to live my life as it should be. He taught me how to turn my cheek when people laugh at me. I've had friends before, and I can tell you that he's one who will never leave you flat.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend in Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
He taught me how to pray and how to save my soul. He taught me how to praise my God and still play rock and roll. The music may sound different, but the message is the same. It's just an instrument to praise his name.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend in Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is a friend of mine.
Once I tried to run and hide. But Jesus came and found me and he touched me down inside. He is like a Mountie, he always gets his man. And he'll zap you any way he can.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend in Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
He loves me when I'm right. He loves me when I'm wrong. He loves me when I waste my time by writing silly songs. He loves me when I'm quiet and I have nothing to say. He'll love me when I'm perfect if I ever get that way.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend in Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend in Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
That's terrific, Sal. Thank you very much.
Now, that video has just gone viral. We're talking millions and millions of people have seen it. And if you've seen it, type in the comments that you've seen that video. And now, to make the evening what it should be, we are going to bring the person responsible for that song on screen with us right now. So let's welcome Sal Polichetti.
Yes, it's my fault. Who was that young guy?
I know. What year was that, Sal?
19. Well, the song was written in 81, so that was 1982.
82. So tell us, let's hear the story, because a lot of people have seen the video, and I know that people follow you on YouTube and know you, but tell us how that song got into the entire world.
Sonseed, actually, we were a gospel band in Brooklyn. What made it unusual was the fact that we were all Catholic. Most of the contemporary Christian pop stuff, they weren't. They were other Christian denominations, but they weren't Catholic. And how we formed is a whole another story. But people wanted to have something to take home from the concerts, so they suggested we make a record. So, not wanting to pay royalties, they asked people in the group to write songs. Now, in concert, I sang probably 60 to 75% of the songs. I hadn't written anything. I wasn't even going to be on this record. So I said to my first wife at the time, who was the keyboard player in that group, I said, if I'm going to get on this record, I better write a song. So I went in the bathroom with a piece of paper, and 10 minutes later, I came out with that.
Wow.
And actually, the way it came was in New York, back at that time, there was a disc jockey on an album-oriented rock station, Scott Muni, and every Friday from 4 to 5, he played imports. Now, of course, now with YouTube and the internet, you don't have to wait. But back then, if you wanted to hear something that was recorded in England, you had to wait until somebody put it on a boat or a plane and flew it over here.
Right.
So every Friday afternoon from 4 to 5, Scott Muni would play Things from England. That was the name of the show. And about a month before I wrote the song, I heard Too Much Pressure by the Selector. And I didn't know it was called ska. I didn't know what it was. I just knew it had a nice, peppy, up-tempo beat. Like, you can't be sad when you listen to this music. And that was what, and as I'm playing the chords, I went, Jesus is my friend. Oh, Jesus is a friend of mine. And everything just came out. P.S. It's the only song I've ever written. We put it on the record. And not long after, we got a phone call from someone at NBC, Channel 4 in New York. Apparently, there was a Sunday morning television show called The First Estate, The Religion in Review. It was kind of like an ecumenical talk show. In fact, on the show we were on, there was 2 officers from the Salvation Army and 2 rabbis who taught the Old Testament using marionettes. They called it Punch-in' Judaism. It's kind of creepy, but I guess effective, if you want to learn the Old Testament. So we had a meeting, and they said, look, what do you guys wear when you perform? So we wear T-shirts and jeans. Oh, no, not for television. But you have to dress nice. And blue, it looks very nice. We want the women to wear blue and the guys to wear blue. And vests. Wear a vest. Vests are very nice. So they dressed us. We get to the taping, and okay, we're going to open the show with that Jesus is a Friend of Mine song. Now, the group, who didn't particularly care for the song, went, and I went, all right, TV. And we did it, and the group broke up about, I guess, a year and a half later, I suppose, to do other things. Hadn't given it a thought. Hadn't given it a single thought. Every now and then I would get a phone call from a Catholic school teacher who would say, oh, our children are graduating kindergarten. They'd like to sing your song at their graduation. Can you get, yes, sure, go right ahead. Yeah, whatever. And then, you're right, it's about 10 years ago, 2009, 2010. I get a phone call from a friend of mine who runs a theater group, because my wife and I do local theater. And he says, I just got a phone call from somebody. Were you in a group in Brooklyn called Sonseed? I went, yeah, I was. Why? He goes, well, I didn't give him your phone number, but here's his phone number. You call him. So I did. And I said, yes, hi, yep, I'm the guy. Do I owe you money? Did I date your sister? What? And then he directed me, he says, are you in front of a computer? I said, yes. He goes, go to my blog site. Doug Principali is the gentleman's name. And I went on his blog site, and there was the video of us on the television show. I went, oh my God, how did you get this video? He said, well, I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and when you guys were on the show, a priest friend of mine gave me the videotape and said, you got to see this. Now, his blog site was a pop culture blog site. Old TV shows, old movies, a lot of Where Are They Now stuff.
Right.
So I was thinking, what can I put on my show? And I went, you know what? I'm going to put this video on my show and see what happens. Well, he put it on, he says, and people went nuts. They thought it was fake because it looked kitschy because the way we were dressed, but that's the way we dressed. And that's the way we looked back then.
Right.
He knew it was real. But, and I said, how did you find me? So, well, at the very end of the segment, the guy says, thank you, Sal. He found our album. Now, we only printed 1,000 of them.
Wow.
So and we sold them at our concerts for like $4. If people didn't have the money, we gave them away. Because we weren't a money-making thing anyway. We were a Christian group. Because I found your record in a rare record shop, and Sal Polichetti was listed on the back. I was hoping it was you. I did an interview with him for his blog, and then 2 weeks later, someone pulled it off the blog and put it on YouTube.
Wow.
And it just got nuts from there.
That's an amazing story for a group and a song that had been decades in the past. And so what have you done besides music in your life? Like, what was your career? I know you're retired.
I worked for the phone company. I was a field technician for the phone company, but all the while for the last 50 odd years, I've been playing in bands.
Yeah.
And doing local theater. That's how I met my current wife, and my kids do it too. So COVID's been rough because we haven't had a band job obviously in a year, and we haven't done any plays. Everything's been canceled.
Right.
But so that's what I've been keeping busy with that stuff.
So when this video was it went viral. I mean, on one site I see that it has like 13 million views.
Yeah, that was the original one, the 13 million.
Right. So what started happening? I mean, when people found out it was you, I know people started parodying you and making videos. How did that come about? And what did you feel like when that started happening?
Well, imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. I wasn't insulted. I didn't take, there was one thing I read somewhere where I got upset. Someone reviewed it it wasn't even a magazine. It was some blog site, I guess. They made fun of some people in the group, someone in the group that had passed. So that upset me. But other than that, the people dressed like us and things, every now and then I come across a new one. I mean, there's got to be dozens of them out there.
Well, Ben, our is going to show us a little clip of one. Ben, you want to show us?
Okay, let me see if I've seen this one already.
Seen this one. We'll play on the side.
Let me see if I've seen this one. I love it already. Yes.
This guy's got.
Jesus is a friend. Jesus is my friend.
He's got your voice.
Jesus is a friend.
Yes.
I have a friend in Jesus. Jesus is a friend. Jesus is my friend. Jesus is a friend of mine. He taught me how to.
And in fact, like I said, I commented on it, and I said, "Boy, I wish I was that tall." And of course, a few days later, I get a YouTube response like, "Oh my God, it's you! I can't believe it was you."
So that's got to be flattering. Now, one of the things that came after that is you got this song picked up on a national TV show. Tell us how that came about, and then we'll show the clip.
Well, there was 2 shows actually. The first one was Community.
Oh,
It was on Community. That was the sitcom with Chevy Chase and who's the gal that's always on the Walking Dead show?
Oh,
She's the black actress. She's a big fan of the show.
Yvette Nicole Brown.
Yvette Nicole Brown.
thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Well, she's. I think the episode was about they wanted to have a Christmas party at the college, but everybody was of a different religion, so they couldn't decide what to do. So they were arguing about it, and she says, "Oh, come on. We all have to get together. Come on. Jesus is a friend of mine. You know it. Sing. Jesus is a friend of mine." That's it. That's all she did. And I got a check.
Wow.
Oh, there it is right there.
Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is a friend of mine. Everybody, Jesus is a friend of mine. Come on, everybody. Jesus, you don't know it?
All right. If I ever run into her, I have to mention that too.
Sal, the fact that Chevy Chase was sitting there when that happened, that makes it. That's Chevy Chase, man.
Oh. Now, meanwhile, I wasn't on social media at the time. I wasn't on Facebook. I don't know how people, and people are going to find me anyway. So, and then I guess it was a year or so later, I get a phone call from the people at Glee that we watched with my wife and my kids. We watched the shows. We liked it. And they says, look, and she got my number because she knew the production assistant from Community.
Okay.
And she called her. She says, "Where did you get the guy? How did you get a hold of that guy?" The premise was that Jane Lynch was coaching another school in the competition, and found that there was going to be a nun on the judging group. So she figured she'll grease the skids by doing a religious song. So they called me up and they said, "Look, we don't know if it's going to be used or not because they're filming it tomorrow. And if they tell you the truth, if I lived about 2,500 miles closer, I would have gone to actually watch them film it."
Wow.
And then they called me the next day. She called me the next day and she says, "Okay, it looks great. We're going to use it in the show."
Let's play that right now, Ben. Let's play the Glee clip. We can play that whole clip because it's very short.
And it's a riot.
From Westvale High School, let's have a warm welcome for Oral Intensity.
Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is my friend. Jesus is a friend of mine. I'm a friend of Jesus. Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is my friend. Jesus is a friend of mine. He taught me how to live my life as it should be. He taught me how to turn my cheek when people laugh at me. I've met friends before, and I can tell you that he's one who will never leave you flat. Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is a friend of mine. Friend of mine, friend of mine, friend of mine.
The Star of David at the end made it for me.
That's great. Now, tuning in, folks, we're talking to Sal Palachetti, and he is the man who wrote "Jesus is a Friend of Mine," that viral video that went on Community. It went on Glee. Hopefully, they paid you for that, Sal.
Oh yes,
That's good.
That was nice. And it's funny because like the first 30 years the song was in existence, I never made a dime.
In fact, you were trying to give it away.
I wasn't even thinking about it, to tell you the truth. But I've been on a couple of when I retired, I started to do like background work on TV shows and in movies and things just to keep busy and make a few bucks. And I'd be sitting in the green room or we'd be on a break and I'd hear my song playing off in the distance. It was some ringtone. It's a ringtone. So I go up to him and say, "That's me." "That's you."
You can't make stuff up, can you, Sal?
No, I can't. You can't.
So now tell me, I want to, and we have a clip of you performing, but tell us about how this whole invitation to England and to play with these ska bands came up.
Well, in 2014, I had gotten other offers. A couple of years before that, I got an email from somebody in Belize that they were having a Christian festival and would I go to Belize? And I went, no. Well, 2014, that's where this clip is from. I get an email from a gentleman, Paul Williams, in England. And he says, your song is still very popular here. And for a couple of years now, we've run a charity ska reggae festival, money going to support for families with teenagers who have cancer. It's called Specialized Project. We can't pay you, but we'd love to have you come and do your song. All the bands know your song. One of the bands will play it. And I said, let me think about it. I thought about it and I said, this is crazy. I'm not going to go over there. So I was telling one of my sisters about it. And she has business associates in London. And she says, you have to go. How do you not go? She says, have you ever been to England? I said, no. She says, well, I'll go with you. And let's go. And I mean, this is an opportunity. The things you regret are the things you don't do. You're absolutely right. So 2 of my 3 sisters came with me that first year. And I walked into that festival and all the bands knew who I was. Half the crowd knew who I was. I didn't pay for a drink. I didn't pay for a meal for the whole weekend. It wasn't for the religious aspect. I didn't really care about that. I think what blew them away was the fact that somebody in America wrote a ska song in 1980. I think that was the thing. In fact, some people have written books, and I've heard from authors saying that, your song is one of the first American written ska songs. I said, really? And I didn't even know it was called ska at the time. I've been there. We went there again in 2016. I brought my wife and I said, lady, joke, where do you see what a big rock star I am there? Ha ha. And it was worse. All the bands went, oh, you're Sal's wife. They were giving her T-shirts, and it was like she got all this swag because she was my wife. Then 2 years later, in 2018, we went back, and I brought my kids this time. Now, if you have kids, especially my kids are in their 20s, you can't impress them because you don't know anything. You're dumb. And what do you know? They heard the song. What impressed them was when I came off the stage performing with another group, someone came up to me. We were all going to go eat at that point at the green room. Someone came up to me and says, hi, I'm from Wolf Radio, W something. Can we do an interview real quick? I went, oh yeah, sure. I'll be right there, kids. And they went, wow, a radio interview. That's what did it. A radio interview in England.
Well, it's big, man. I mean, it is such a pleasure to have you here and talk to you, because it's what I did the same thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna Google is this band around? Is this, because here in Rhode Island, and we're not too far from you compared to England. We're just up the coast, but we do a lot of great things in our little community in the summer. We have drive-in movies, and we do a play every year that I write and direct called Guy Fawkes Bonfire Night, based on the British Guy Fawkes Day. And but it's kind of like Monty Python, it's stupid, but it's fun. And we do all kinds of concerts and festivals. So, and I have a band, and so it's that's when I was starting to think. I'm like, I want to talk to Sal, and I want to see if we can get this guy, when COVID is over, if we can take a trip up to the beach. Of course, all expense paid, Sal.
I have never been to Rhode Island, but I'm sure my wife won't complain.
And we'll do something fun. And is she an actress too?
Yes, she's an actress and director also.
Well, so this year for our Guy Fawkes Bonfire Night, we're going to have I don't know if you remember England Dan and John Ford Coley.
Absolutely.
So John's a friend of ours. He plays here every year. So we're going to band, and we're going to do Really Love to See It at Night. And so it'd be great to have you come and be in that show too. And we'll do you can do your song. We'll work it out, but it's something we should do this year. That would be fun for all of us, I think.
Oh, that sounds like fun. That sounds like fun. And I was supposed to go back to England in 2020, but obviously that flew apart. And actually, what the real payback was, because this Paul Williams, Willow is his nickname. That really changed. It changed my life again, because all of a sudden I've got all these British ska musicians, and I think it's because I'm a nice guy, is what it is, and I'm always complimentary. I didn't hide myself in the green room during any of the festivals. I was either dancing or in the wing, like rooting for the bands, because I've been playing in bands for 50 years, and I love it when 4 or 5 guys get together and it sounds good.
Yes.
Because I've played with musicians where you put a bunch of guys together, no matter how good they are, if it doesn't click, it doesn't click. So when I hear a good band, I'm really excited about it.
When did you learn to play the bass?
Excuse me?
When did you learn to play the bass?
Well, I was a guitar player until I was, I want to say 16 or 17. And there were these guys that I wanted to play with. Because my band had broken up. I had been friends with them outside of music. And I asked them, I says, you guys need a, guitar player? He said, well, we have a guitar player. We need a bass player, though. So I worked around. I bought a used Princeton bass for $10 off a kid on my block. Not even have a case. Not only a Princeton bass, it was kind of like a Fender knockoff, but it was heavier. It was like a tree. And this $10 bass, and now I had taken music lessons, so I knew where all the notes were on the neck. And I started to play the bass, and that's been playing the bass ever since.
So what are your musical influences then, going back when you started as a kid?
Well, let's see. We started playing stuff off the radio. Rolling Stones, Creedence. Then when disco came in, we became a disco band. Hey, you got to work.
Yeah.
My band now, One Swift Kick. We are 4 old guys. We do 50s, 60s, early 70s. 4 guys. Everybody sings. So it's great because I can't sing for 3 hours a night anymore. Neither can the other guys. So we split it up. Well, but nice harmonies. We do a lot of Beatles, and people enjoy it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we should get the whole band to come up for one of our.
Oh yeah, right.
Hey, so you told me that you went to Woodstock, right?
Originally, yeah.
The original, like 1969 Woodstock.
Yeah.
Well,
we kind of tried to. I think I got there like late, like a day late. There was just mud and garbage all over the place. When I went, I wanted to see Hendrix, is what it was, because I had seen Hendrix, I think twice before that, and I wanted to see him because I knew he was going to be on the last day. But it took us so damn long to get there. We took bicycles from Brooklyn, and it was a mess. But yeah, it was a mess. Plus, actually, and it's funny because I'm probably the only person that you'll meet that actually went to Woodstock and got drafted.
Wow. Oh, Jesus.
1971.
So you went to Vietnam?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I stayed. Oh, there I am. Look.
Well, okay, so let's go back. So, whenever you hear about Woodstock, you see these iconic pictures and you hear it from the point of view of the bands or of the producers, Artie Kornfeld's version, whatever.
Right.
Guy that just went, like, how old were you in 69?
17.
17. So did it look like this when you got there? Was it nuts or was it?
No, it was 3/4 empty by the time I got there.
Oh, it was. So what bands do you remember seeing?
It was a muddy mess. We heard Hendrix from a distance. That was pretty much. We got there, looked around, looked at our shoes, and kind of left.
Wow. Have you ever been back to the site since?
Oh yes, it's about an hour from where we live here.
Oh, great. Yeah. I mean,
in fact, my mother-in-law came up from Brooklyn a few months ago, and we took her to Bethel.
Facility now.
It's beautiful. The museum is great, but you can actually walk the site where it was, and they have virtual posts where you put your phone up and you could see the stage from where you're standing on your phone.
Oh, that's something new. Then it wasn't there. We went there for my wife and I for our anniversary a couple of years ago, up to a hotel up there, and I was born after Woodstock, so I missed it. I went to Woodstock too.
Oh, you're a lucky guy.
Which was equally as muddy.
I'm sure.
Just terrible. But
that thing they added that this year, the virtual reality thing with your phone.
Because I always figure out when I'm on that hill, I'm like, where exactly? And it looks to me, when I'm there, I'm like, how could you have fit all those people? It doesn't look as big as it looks in those photos.
Well,
they did it.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
But those photos make it look like it, like you're standing there and you're like, this was the stage right here, really? And you're thinking, wow, it was because it was so massive when you watch it. But that's just very cool, Sal, that you went to the original one, even though it was,
Pretty much over when I got there.
but so what? I mean, you got to hear the strains of Hendrix. I mean, that's just amazing, and being able to see him. So you were like obviously a big fan of his if you saw him more than once.
I saw him 4 times.
Wow. Amazing. That's great stuff. Well,
And
I wanted to circle back and now not only the trip to England, but I've seen videos of you on YouTube playing with various bands, whether it's in like the New York area. I mean, how many times have you been invited out to play since the YouTube sensation?
twice in the village.
Yeah.
Because different bands got in touch with me. I didn't tape any of those. I don't have any footage of any of that. But there was the band in Manhattan recently, a couple of years ago, was the band that when I went in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what band I was going to play with, but I found out there was going to be another band from New York area. So I called Paul. I said, "Who's the other band that's coming from America?" And he told me, and I looked them up. They were from New Jersey, an hour and small change from where I am. So I got in touch with them. Their bass player, Mark Wasserman, is an author and written ska books. So he knew who I was even before we discussed this.
Wow.
I says, "You know who I am?" "Oh, I've mentioned Sonseed in my first book."
Wow.
So I met with them, and we rehearsed here before we flew over to England. I was part of their set. And then it was a little less than a year later, there was a charity, a fundraising thing in Manhattan. And they got in touch with me. "Oh, we were doing this fundraising thing with some other bands. Would you like to come and do your song with us again?" And that's also on YouTube that I did with them. With Rude Boy George is the band. In fact, we just re-recorded the song.
Oh.
Yeah. With they're a real ska band. So we recorded it with the ska band.
So is it going to be released as like on a record or?
I hope so. They were talking what they wanted to make a video. I guess that's going to have to wait till the COVID mess clears up.
Now, what about writing a sequel? Like it turns out Jesus doesn't like it or something.
I don't know. And it's funny because I haven't been that religious a guy lately. I mean, I have a belief, but it's not like it was, like it used to be. But boy, he really is my friend, I'll tell you, because this has been some lucky stuff, and don't think I don't appreciate it, because I really do.
No, I can tell you do, and when I saw other interviews with you and stuff, I said, boy, I'd really like to meet the guy, even if it's virtually. And I just, your energy and enthusiasm, and just, you jumping around on stage like you're, 25 years old again. It brings a smile to people's faces, and that's why I was like, let's meet Sal. Let's get this guy up to Rhode Island and have him bring some of that joy up here. So I'm glad you took the time tonight to chat with us. We appreciate it.
It's funny. One of the things I did in the city, and a lot of bands do this. They'll rent a club, and they'll get 4 or 5 other bands, friends of theirs, and they'll do like a showcase. And they'll sell their merchandise, their T-shirts, their CDs. That's how they make their money. Well, this one band called me up to do this show at the Poetry Club or something on Bowery, across the street from where CBGB's used to be, actually.
Gotcha.
And there were all kinds of bands there, but the band that followed me around. They wanted to talk. It was a punk band, and they were all like 19, 20 years old, and they just kept following me around going, "We can't believe it. Like, I'm not that old, guys." Like, "Oh, I hope I'm still doing what I'm doing when I'm your age."
You say, "Let me tell you, Sonny." Maybe the hair doesn't stay, but everything else does.
So stay off the drugs, kid.
That's great. Well, you got some great stories and a great video, and we're really happy to have met you tonight. And thank you for taking the time to be with us on the show. And I look forward to chatting with you. And when COVID's over, having you and your wife as guests of ours here in Rhode Island.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I hope hopefully this year I get. In fact, my wife got her second COVID shot today because she works at a school. I'm over 65. I get my second COVID shot next week.
Awesome.
So hopefully this will all clear up sooner rather than later, I hope.
And we'll be rocking on stage. That'd be fun.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much, Sal, and have a great night.
Thank you very much. You too.
See you later.
You bet.
It's a blast for me. So Sal Palachetti from Sonseed. If you don't know Sal, look him up, Sal Palachetti, and follow him on YouTube, friend him on Facebook. And obviously, if you have not seen the Sonseed video, check that out. But we hope to have, and when we have him come to Rhode Island, hopefully this summer, we will let you all know, and we will certainly be chatting with him again. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Caswell Cooke Show tonight. My name is Caswell Cooke. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mom. See you next time.